during the BBI process, there are provisions for amendments which could have gone to Parliament directly. But Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta decided that Constitution is a major document. You must involve the people first. That is why you saw during the BBI process, there was a team that went all over the country. All over the country, even if Parliament can change it. And Parliament is the wrong body to change a constitution. Because over the years, we had a very good constitution from Lancaster, but it was messed up by Parliament. A constitution is something that must go to the people, for the people to decide before it is taken to Parliament. Now, Ruto is saying that for the creation of the leader opposition, all he needs to do is to write to Parliament. But we had that office created under BBI. At that time he said no. He should tell us why he was opposed when that provision was in the BBI document. The issue of gender should not worry us because it is in the Constitution. The Constitution has commanded that no more than 2/3 of Parliament should be from the same gender. The Constitution has said that already. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. But I think if you read between the lines, if you allow this Constitution to be changed through a parliamentary process, then you'll be like that person in the desert who went camping and allowed the camel to come to put his head in the tent. If you allow this government to put his head in the tent, in the constitutional tent, and we know what they think about the Constitution, Ruto has never been a man who has argued for reform for the Constitution. When he is making those changes and proposals for those changes, you must make sure that you are doing the right thing. Read between the lines. And I promise you, if we stay with the people, if you stay with the people, you can never go wrong. If you stay with the people, God will be with you. If you stay with the people, you will continue to be strong. Let us continue to have faith in ourselves.
The proposals of the President on how to resolve the gender issue are incomplete. I read that letter, I wrote the Constitution, I've examined that issue for the last 12 years. That issue cannot be resolved as simplistically as he has proposed. But it's still a good idea to relook into it. Because we must relook into it, we must fulfill what the Constitution intends, which is to achieve at least the 1/3 gender balance. We will have to think beyond what has been proposed. So that is fine, but that proposal is incomplete. On the issue of the leader of opposition, it is an issue that we had long recognized, and you all know it was in the BBI document. You cannot resolve that issue by looking at it as parliament. It is an issue that must ultimately come to the people. Because if you look at Article 255, the question of introduction of the leader of opposition necessarily affects the composition of parliament. Anything that affects the composition of parliament must go to referendum. And if we are going to referendum, we will not go to referendum with a single issue. We must save all the good issues that were in BBI. We bring them back, then we bring them for referendum, then we will pass them. And at the same time, the wish to have ministers, cabinet secretaries come to parliament to answer questions is not a bad idea. But you cannot come to parliament to answer questions. The Speaker Okode will tell you, I cannot go to the county assembly of Siaya. If I go there, I'll be a stranger. Cabinet secretaries cannot come to the floor of parliament to answer questions right now because they are strangers. For them to do that, you must amend the constitution and allow them to serve as CSs and cabinet and members of parliament. Again, to do that, that requires a referendum. What am I saying? I am saying that we must look at the proposals that have been made, but we must look at them with a pinch of salt. Those which are good, we can consider, but we will not consider them for the convenience of the current executive or the president. We can only consider them for the convenience of the entire country. So that if we are amending the constitution, we amend it once and introduce all the good things we want, the way we tried with BBI. We will follow the directions of the Supreme Court. We will follow the dictates of the people. We must borrow all the good things in BBI that they opposed. If the president now has come to accept BBI, we welcome it.
It is very dangerous when a new president comes into office and begins to talk about amending the constitution. Because, you know, he could just be trapping us by telling us good things, but the real intention is even to interfere with the presidential term limit, because that is where his interest is. So I want to ask our people, our politicians, our leaders, even members of parliament, that let us really be cautious about some of these proposals which are being proposed by the current President William Ruto. Because we know that he's not a very good person. And he behaves like somebody who wants to hide his intentions by pretending to be very nice. And then once you enter the trap, then he begins to introduce some of the archaic measures that are capable of undermining the fabric of our constitution.
Daktari MP Malaria Dr. Tina Mono brought me on the next program. Otherwise, what we will come on side, you don't know what I want them. Me and I go and check the community for a cheap water. You can't do more with another key. My dad, he was quiet. My children are also not there. Yes, I bet. MCS more than you group you there. Seche mwale mwatu katoli seche mwache wachu wabe watemka domano isubete mwayo speaker wanoka alanoka MP Maleko Zonga atanibelika MP ma Bondo constituency Dr. Chadanika Mama Maria